Are you using healing as another form of a coping mechanism? Now, when I say that, what does that mean? Meaning, are you using your healing practices as another way to actually avoid the issues you got going on? And the reason why I'm asking this is because today, as I was scrolling through my Instagram feed, I noticed a comment on one of my posts. And the post was a hip opener. And basically, I gave like a warning signal saying, hey, warning. Of course, the warning is for clickbait to get people to stop. But basically, I said, doing this hip opener might trigger emotions you didn't expect. And it's a pretty good post. I like it. However, one of the comments, somebody left I don't want to say a nasty comment, but it was a feedback. Basically saying that you should actually put a real warning because this pose that you're recommending could trigger a strong reaction in people who have suffered from sexual assault. And when I read that, I said, huh. The reason why I say, huh, is the trigger that she's talking about that may come up is the point. The way you actually heal is dealing with the trigger. But the problem is today with the healing industry, a lot of the healing industry is just another cope. It's just another way to avoid the issue. One of the big words that gets thrown around in the healing industry, and I like the word, is safety. You got to get your nervous system to feel safe. And when you feel safe, you could allow yourself to experience whatever's bothering you. And I love this. But the problem is most people stay there because the problem is real life is where the actual healing takes place. I'll say that again. Real life, going out into real life is where the healing actually takes place. So I'll use an analogy here because this is hopefully will be useful if I use this analogy. Let's say you're a soldier and I give you a M16 gun. And I say, hey, I want you to use this gun. I want you to practice it. That way, when it's time to go to war, you'll be prepared. Now, what 90% of people do is they say, you know what? I'll just wait till the actual war takes place. And then when the war takes place, I'll just magically learn how to use the gun. Now, this is what maybe 90% of people do. What I mean by this, when it comes to healing, most people just never deal with their issues. They just avoid it, keep avoiding it. They pretend like it's not there. They pretend like nothing bad is ever going to happen to them. And then as they get older, weird diseases come up based off because they've suppressed so much emotion, so much energy. They never dealt with their issues to the point where they suffer, right? So that's what most people do. Now, the next phase is you actually learn about the gun. This is where healing comes in, right? So you start to learn about the gun, you learn how to use the gun, and you get very, very familiar with the gun. Now, this is the first phase of healing. People get very, very familiar with the idea of healing. The next phase is they start doing practice exercises such as meditation, mantra, visualization, somatic stretching. They go to therapy. They gain more awareness about themselves. This is the equivalent to where you actually go to the shooting range with your M16 and practice firing at a stationary target. That's what that is. So when you start doing these mantras, these meditations, hypnosis, visualization, you talk about your problems with a therapist, that's the equivalent of just learning how to hit the target. Learning to hit a stationary target. It's safe. You're learning to get comfortable with the gun. You're getting comfortable firing the gun. The problem is, with the healing industry, most people just stay there. Stay in safety. Stay in comfortability. This is what all these seminars are, where You go to these retreats, and I've been to these retreats, and I've met the people. I talk to everybody. When I go to these retreats, I talk to everybody. And you see that they're not actually getting better. It's just one big cope, which was the initial question I had. Are you using healing as just another cope? We're all just making each other feel good. We're gaslighting each other into healing, but we're not actually healing. Why? Because we're just learning how to shoot at a stationary target. Because the problem is an actual war, which is, let's say we're using this as a metaphor for life, it's messy. It's very, very messy. You're going to get triggered. You're going to get upset. You're going to get angry. And you have to deal with your stuff. So you need practice exercise. So if we were to take it to the next level, which most healing industries don't ever take you to, the next level, metaphorically speaking, is you're shooting your M16 gun at a moving target. From there, you're shooting your M16 at a moving target and somebody's shooting back at you. Or at least there's somebody screaming at you. They're stress testing you. This is the problem with the healing industry, is nobody gets stress tested. You're not tested under pressure. I remember I made a video not too long ago because one of my YouTube videos with the meditations, ads kept popping up throughout my meditation videos. And I couldn't stop it because at the time I was close to getting monetized. So YouTube just made a decision to put ads in my video every 6 minutes. And I remember I mentioned about a lady, she commented on all my meditation videos saying, like, it's very disturbing. Why would you do that? It's annoying. That's the point. And I'm not saying I get the idea that a meditation video, you're in this nice meditative trance, and then all of a sudden an ad pops up and it disturbs you. Well, deal with it. Learn to deal with it. You can't be comfortable forever because when you go out into real life, actual life is disturbing. So, going back to the initial comment, the woman saying this pelvic release that I'm introducing could trigger a reaction in a sexual assault victim. That's the point. Can you handle it? Can you handle it? Real healing requires you to get triggered. Can you move up the ladder? Can we stop with this safety? I get it. It's nice when you first get into it. Go into a nice, comfortable environment where it's not disturbing. Sit there, meditate, get into a nice, tranquil state. Someplace where nobody distracts you. That's beautiful. That you're learning to get centered. That's like you getting familiar with your M16 gun. You're becoming aware of it. Problem is, most people just stay there forever. And they go to these seminars and these retreats, and they just gaslight each other into healing. They give each other hugs. And oh my God, you're so beautiful. I love you. Affirm. Yes, you're deserving. You are enough. But then, what happens when they leave the retreat? They go back into the chaos of life. Nobody gives them the tools to actually handle life. Because life is very, very disturbing. Life is very, very triggered. So how do you deal with it? If you were to get triggered doing one of my releases, what I could say to you is, great, let's work with it. Can you handle it? Now I understand. If this is your first time into healing, yes, get comfortable with the M16 gun. Get comfortable being in a safe environment. But the problem is with the healing industry, which is very, very profitable. I'll say that again, the healing industry. I know a lot of healing therapists that make a lot of money. By the way, these healing therapists too, within the last 2 years, I've had 5 emails sent to my business account threatening to sue me because they felt like I used language that they used that they kind of like trademarked or something. Like, these are the healing, and I'm like, I don't even know who you are. I don't know who you are. So these healing therapists are getting triggered at the fact that maybe I used the word that they trademarked or something. So you gotta be watchful with these healing therapists. These people, they put on these characters like they're all enlightened. They're all namaste and spiritual and love everybody. But behind closed doors, they're sending me emails about, hey, you use this word, You shouldn't use this in the title. And I'm like, well, I don't even know who you are. I don't even know who you are. All I care about is the work. All I care about is helping people actually get better. I'll say that again, actually get better, not feel better. Not feel better. Most healing coaches, all they're trying to do is to get you feel better in the moment. They're basically gaslighting. That's a new term I've been using lately, gaslighting. I didn't know what it meant until about like maybe 2 months ago, and somebody told me what gaslight means. They're just making you feel good. They're boosting up your ego, making you feel like because you're getting better in the moment and you feel good, oh my God, you're getting better. But the problem is you got to keep coming back to them over and over and over again because you got to feel safe in the environment. And I get it. If this is your first time enter a healing, yes, go into a safe environment so you could feel and experience and work through some things and have an awareness. But eventually, you're going to have to be stress tested. You're going to have to get triggered. And you're going to have to learn how to deal with it because actual life is triggering. Now, how do you deal with the triggers? I talk about this all the time. If you get triggered, if you get bothered, if you get disturbed, majority of the time, not all the time, there's no absolute one way to heal, but majority of the time, you're going to notice you feel it. You feel the disturbance in your body, in your physiology. There's like a funniness. Your jaw gets tight. Your stomach gets tight. What do? Become aware of it. That's the first step. Become aware of it, which is what they're teaching you, which is what I'm grateful for. They teach this. Become aware. But the second step is you need to accept it. Now, most healing industries, most healing teachers aren't going to teach this. What they're going to teach you is once you become aware of it, to try to do something with it, to bypass the pain to get you to feel better. They're going to get you to skip, try to get you to spiritually bypass and reach a state of love, gratitude, enlightenment, bliss, peace, which is great. That could actually happen in the moment. The problem is you didn't deal with the issue. You didn't deal with the trigger. So what you got to do is accept it. Allow it to be there. Don't do anything with it. And guess what? I always say this. It's painful. It sucks. It's horrible. You're basically crucifying yourself. That's what the idea of Jesus getting crucified. He's resisting the urges in the body. He's resisting the pain. Not really resisting, but he's allowing and accepting it and realizing he's more than the body. And he's allowing the energy to pass through, to be purified. So that's the second step. You accept it. The third step, as you accept it, and yes, it's painful, it will begin to flow. It might actually transmute to a different feeling or emotion or trigger. Continue to watch it. And guess what? That sucks too. It might go to a different part of the body. That's okay. Just continue to not resist it. True healing takes place in a state where you're consciously not resisting. True healing takes place when you're consciously not resisting the pain. And the fourth and final step, as it continues to flow, over time, you'll begin to release. That disturbance within you, that trigger within you will just poof. You surrender it to a higher power, your higher self, the universe, God, whatever you want to call it. It just evaporates. It purifies. But the idea here is this process is painful. This process, does it feel safe? This process, very, very uncomfortable. It's like me doing this video. A lot of distractions. It's not perfect, but I'm dealing with it. I notice my mind drifting, trying to look around. I feel uneasy at times. The idea here is to deal with it. But me doing this out where there's a lot of distractions, how good do you think I'll be when I'm in an environment where it's completely distraction-free? Amazing. Doing this every single day for me when I speak to the camera in a distracting environment, in a disturbing environment where there's people around, where there's a lot of noise, a lot of distractions, and I have to learn to deal with it, accept it, makes me a better communicator. Because then when I have an audience who's there in front of me and no distractions, my ability to hold people's attention is amazing because I stress tested my communication ability. So I'm asking you, please Do not use healing as another form of coping, as another way to avoid. Please, let's move beyond it. Let's go into the triggers. Let's learn how to handle it in chunks, in small steps. Don't just feel like you have to be comfortable all the time. You're going to have to do things that disturb you because real life is actually disturbing. So, hope that kind of made sense. If it did, as always, if you made it this far, leave any feedback in the comment section. Peace.